Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, all. So myself, I'm Vijay. I hold 20 plus years of experience, which includes experience in different technologies like big data, Hadoop, Spark, Python, in this Azure data engineering, right? So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes.
Fine. So
Yes, sir.
as part of today's demo, I'll be covering the following things. If you've got any queries, general queries, I'll be giving time for you at the end of the session. So why data engineer? Why data engineer? Previously, right, we doesn't have this role. Now today, if you see, data engineer has got great demand today. Why data engineer? Previously, we used to say like ETL developer. Second role, what is the role of data engineer? And most of them ask the difference between this data engineer with data analyst and data scientist. Data engineer, data scientist, data analyst. Data engineering products are services. I'm going to give overview about this data engineering products or services that are used and job market, the current job market of Azure data engineer. Okay. First, cloud. Cloud is majorly utilized. It is utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various form. Cloud is used for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various form. Okay, so if we talk about this on-premises compared with cloud, right? On-premises compared with cloud, just observe. If I talk about this on-premises databases and this cloud, first thing is we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. So why you are moving towards cloud? Azure. Again, on top of that, OS installation to be done. Purchasing database license, purchasing database license. Installation of database server. Later, like designing database objects. So to maintain all this, we require separate teams. We require separate teams. Just some query was asked. To maintain all this, we require separate teams, like a hardware team is required. Secondly, operating system team. Networking team. So everything to be interconnected, right? So network, next security team. And finally, like a database administrator. But here everything in the cloud premises. Here, but everything in the cloud premises. You no need to maintain any infrastructure here. Everything in the cloud premises. No need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Here, everything in cloud environment, right? Yes. Data engineers with the help of cloud. So data engineers with the help of cloud services, they work on data and make the data structured and useful, right? So they work on data and make it structured and useful. So the main responsibility of data engineers, they are responsible in smooth data flow from source to destination. Smooth data flow from the source to destination. What data engineer does? What data engineer data engineer, right? So preparing the data, cleansing the data, transforming data, processing data. Yes. So, okay, data engineer performs all this: preparing, cleansing, transforming, and processing. Talk about how it different from this data analyst and data scientist. We talk about this data scientist. So data scientist and parallel data analyst and data engineer. So just a simple way, data scientist strategizes for the future. So it's going to perform some kind of predictions, some kind of analysis for the future. How? And the data analyst summarizes the past and is going to visualize it. So data scientist strategizes for the future, kind of predictions, analysis. Is going to analyze the data, analyze the processed results, analyze the data, identify the patterns, and is going to perform recommendations for the future. Analyze the data, identify the patterns, recommendations for the future. Data analyst summarizes the past. He also analyzed the data. Analyze the data. Summarizes the data. Visualizing the data. So here, data scientist for the future and data analyst is going to summarize for the past. So here, data engineering involves these are the things: data analyst, data engineer, and data scientist. Data engineering. So if I talk data engineer does all the groundwork. He does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. They speak nearly 80%, otherwise more than 80% of data analysis is done by data engineers. Means extracting, transforming as per that required, and processing. So here, data engineering. So involves, right, what are the sources of the data? From where we need to bring the data from? What are the sources of the data? From OLTP systems, that is from databases, or from NoSQL databases, or for streaming kinds of. And what is the format? Format of the data, right? How to transform data. And finally, what is the destination of the data? Yes. So data engineering involves, right, from where we need to pull the data, from where we need to get the data from, what is the format and how to transform it, and what is the destination of the data. So now talking about why Azure data engineer in demand today. Why Azure data engineer? Why Azure data engineer in demand? Just observe this. Organization. Okay. Organization wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data from its website. So the organization uses Azure for its operations. So it is going to hire two people. This organization first going to hire two people. Azure data engineer. Secondly, data scientist. Yes, the organization using Azure for its operations. So first, it is hiring two people, right? Azure data engineer and also data. First, the work of Azure data engineer is going to create a data warehouse. He creates a data warehouse for the organization. A data warehouse is the storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources such as the new users, user logs, clicks, existing customers' data. So data engineers going to structure this data, store it, and monitors it in the data warehouse. Data engineers, they are going to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement and also communicates with the business team to know the business requirements of the organization. And also he has to keep in mind in the business needs when dealing with the data in mind, that is in need. So yes, dealing with the data in the hand, right? So he has to communicate with the data scientists and the business teams, and they need to provide the data as per the required format. So main thing is to create a data warehouse and making the data structured and storing in the storage system. So later the data scientists, they are going to analyze and they are going to create insights from the processed data. And also the business team requires some dashboard tools for visualizing the data, right? So data engineers keeps on constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. They are going to create pipelines. This data engineers creates data pipelines through which data is integrated through all the crucial stages of the data flow, right? And also they make sure that the pipeline is always efficient and secure without any data leaks. So this is the primary role of a Azure data engineer, right? So we can see, I'll discuss what are the roles of Azure data engineer. Role of Azure data engineer. First one, like designing entire data flow architecture. Designing entire data flow architecture. Secondly, creating a data warehouse. Creating data warehouse for storage of analytical data. So third one, the main role, ETL. ETL, right? One of the key tasks of data engineers. They need to extract data from multiple sources, transform it into structured form, and then load it into the company's storage service for further business evaluations by the data scientists. So the ETL is the key task of data engineers. Later, not only this ETL, data monitoring. Data monitoring. So data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way, in a perfect way, right? And data is available everywhere it's required, right? So data monitoring, and also like data security. Data security. Ensuring data security. It also major responsibility of data engineers. They need to secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposures. And also like collaboration and communication. Just before, as I said, they have to constantly communicate with the business team to check if the team needs the data insights. Collaborating with data scientists to deliver the data as per their needs or requirement. Analytics. Data engineers analyze the data and transform it into structured, useful format. They need to have this strong analytical and mathematical things to perform this analysis. And also certain things has to be automated. Automation. Like they have to automate certain process which require minimal human interventions, such as extraction. So the main role, like designing the entire data flow architecture, creation of data warehouse for storing of analytical data, ETL, the key task, extracting data from different sources, transforming it into structured format, loading into company's storage system for further evaluations, and data monitoring. So, see that the ETL is performed in a proper way, and see that whether data is available in all the stages. Data security, see that there is no data leaks or data exposures. Collaboration, communicating with this business team and the data scientist for delivering the data as per the writ. And analytics and automation. Some things need to be automated, like the extraction process. So these are the roles of Azure data engineer. So just I'll give overview about this Azure data engineering products or services. I'm not talking about the Azure products, Azure data engineering products or services. Azure data engineering products, services. First one, Azure SQL. Like Azure SQL, we have got Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, that what we say like ADF, Azure Databricks, ADB, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. So as a ADF developer or a Databricks developer, as Azure data engineer, you are going to interact with all these products, all the services like Azure SQL, Data Lake, Data Factory, this Cosmos DB, streaming, right? So first one, Azure SQL. Just I'll give an overview as of now. Later we discuss in brief about these things in our course. First one, Azure SQL. Azure SQL. Simply, it is a cloud RDBMS. I can say it's a cloud RDBMS of Microsoft. Yes, in Azure. It is a cloud RDBMS of Microsoft in Azure. Generally, it is used for OLTP operations, online transactional processing. It is for OLTP operations. This is not for data warehouse, it is for OLTP. It's going to capture the end user's transactions. Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake. I can say like a distributed file system with unlimited data storage. With unlimited data storage in cloud. That is data lake. The kind of file system with unlimited data storage, right? If you have knowledge on this big data, like people from big data, we have got knowledge on this Hadoop HDFS. It's a like a Hadoop distributed file system, HDFS, right? That is on premises. On premises, right? Distributed file system. But if I talk about this Azure Data Lake, cloud DFS. I can say it is a repository of large varieties, structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. You can say it's a kind of file system that distributed, right? Distributed file system with unlimited data storage. So in the cloud, that is what Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Factory. Simple, in a simple way, I can say it's a cloud ETL. It's a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL. It's a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL of Microsoft. In Azure. It acts as a between these OLTP systems and these warehouse systems. It acts as an integration service. So we call ADF is the integration service. Integration service between this OLTP databases and this warehouse systems. So the process raw data coming from one side, processing data coming from other side, they are going to transform as per the destination. So it's combining the data from multiple sources, reforming it, reformatting it into analytical models, saving it for querying, visualizing, right? Yes. So it is going to take the data. It is going to take it performing ETL, right? It's a cloud-based ETL. It's going to extract data from different data sources, from sensors, from IoT, from logs, from media files, from business applications, from customer applications that ADF extracts and stores in Azure Data Lake, where unlimited data storage can be, and later you can transform it. Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks. You can say it is a fast, otherwise it is a Apache Spark based data analytics platform. It is Apache Spark based data analytics platform for Microsoft Azure. So this Apache Spark, so as part of this, I am going to discuss that Spark also, right, with Python implementation. So it's a very high speed processing engine, right? Right. So it's a Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Later I'll be discussing brief about it. So the total execution happens within this Apache Spark. So it brings together the data engineering and data science and the business together. Azure Synapse. I can say in a simple way. Cloud RDBMS, we have got Azure Synapse DB is available for Azure RDBMS. The two for data warehouse, for analytics, for batch processing, batch applications or for batch processing. What do you mean by a batch processing or batch applications? Means online applications and batch applications, the difference. Online applications, right? User has to give the input. Compulsory in any online applications or online transactions, your user gives the input. But in batch applications, user non-interactive applications, millions and trillions of records, credit card statements generations, user involvement is nowhere required. So here for batch processing and that too for parallel processing. Later I discuss in brief about this. Yes. Azure streaming. So analyzing and processing. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data, high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources, that too simultaneously. Okay. Analyzing, processing high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources simultaneously. And okay, streaming data means data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing. Such data we call it as streaming data. Azure Cosmos DB in a simple way. Cosmos DB means it is cloud-based. Simply, I can say it's a cloud-based NoSQL database. NoSQL database, just like MongoDB. We have got many NoSQL databases available, right? Like Key Value Store, Columnar Store, Document Store, Graph Store, like HBase, Cassandra, MongoDB, React, Peanut, Neo4j, Greenplum. In this way, many NoSQL databases. NoSQL databases, schemaless behavior, SQL databases, right? SQL, from first record to last record, you need to maintain that schema has to be maintained, means same number that record columns, same number of columns has to be maintained. But here, schemaless behavior, first record with 3 fields, second record to record, different number of fields can be maintained. First record with 3 fields, second record with 5 fields, third record with 7 fields, record to record. So the same thing in the cloud, we call it as Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Key Vault. Simply, I can say it's a Azure secure key management. Secure key management is protecting data in the cloud. Just I can say protecting your data in the cloud. So here we use the Azure Key Vault to encrypt keys and small secrets like passwords. So for protecting this data in the cloud. So these are the main Azure data engineering products and services. So if you go as an ADF developer, or if you go as a Databricks developer, as a data engineer, you'll be interacting with all this, right? So I'll be discussing all this. So one second. So as part of this course, I'll just show you the course content, what I'm going to discuss. So here Azure data engineering involves first, the main thing like Azure Data Factory. So here ADF. So here I can say it is zero coding GTL. No coding is involved here. Anybody, there is no prerequisite, especially for this ADF. Anybody can update as ADF developer. Azure Databricks. ADB. So as Azure data, if you go as Azure data engineer, and if you've got knowledge on this Azure Databricks and all this, right, there are more calls for the people Azure data engineer, right? So as you can go as a Azure data fact ADF developer, you can go as a Databricks developer, you can go, right? But calls, if you can see that interview calls more for this Azure data engineer, which involves data factory and Databricks. And if you have got, apart from that, if you have got knowledge on this PySpark, so Great Boom PySpark has got Great Boom, like even if you go like PySpark developer, so even PySpark also I'll be discussing as part of this course. Apart from this, Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics. Plus, apart from this, giving knowledge on this, Azure SQL, you are going to interact with this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos, Azure Streaming. So main discussions will be on this data, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse Analytics. Apart from this, these are going to be covered. So yes, duration around 3 to 3.5 months it takes. 3 to 3.5 months it takes, right? Timings of this batch. Okay. Okay. Dure, 1 second. Okay. So duration is 3 months. So, and what are the things, what are the offerings from my side? Daily session video you'll be getting. Each and every session is video recorded. You'll be getting the session video. Soft copy of the neat, very clear soft copy of these notes. A WhatsApp group for technical discussions, or if any error, right, you can take the snap and keep that error in that WhatsApp group. Yes. Assignments and tasks to work with. And interview questions. Okay. A daily session video, the soft copy of this notes, this you'll be getting to your Google Drive. This you'll be getting notes to your mail or your WhatsApp. A WhatsApp group will be added to the WhatsApp group. Yes, these things. And if I come to this data engineering, as a data engineering jobs, we talk about this job market. 1 second. Job market. Today, like this data engineering, this data engineer has got great demand, I said, right? Data engineering, that too with huge packages. People who wants to change, want to upskill, right? So data engineering is one of the best choice. According to Microsoft, every year, like lakhs of companies are getting registered into Azure. And the Fortune 500 companies are utilizing this Azure cloud services. In turn, they are increasing the number of job opportunities for this Azure data engineers constantly. So the major companies are beginning to trust and adopt this Azure, organizing, shifting to Azure, right? They are already utilizing it. And also that compared to the other cloud, right? Azure is cheaper. And regularly they need professionals who can work on Azure and handle huge data, big data, right? So as part of this course, I'll be providing the knowledge on this big data also, right? Yes, like PySpark. According to the pay scales, right? Even this data engineers have got the highest average salary as closely as data scientists. The top two highest paying jobs, right? Data engineers and data scientists. Even if you see the typical data scientists need to have the knowledge, you will be dependent on this data engineer for perform extracting, transforming, and loading. So you need to have the knowledge about these things, right? So pursuing a data engineer, you need to have having a career in this data engineer, right? And I am saying, right, you are not going to write a huge course here, especially if you talk about Azure Data Factory, there is no prerequisites at all for this. Just drag and drop. No prerequisites, nothing is required. No coding at all. Zero coding ETL it is. Zero coding ETL. Azure Databricks, right? Okay, Azure Databricks with PySpark. Yes. Just you'll be writing some notebook codes. You will be writing notebooks. You will be implementing that notebooks, right? Some basic Python knowledge is required for these things. Basic Python knowledge is required. Just I'll be giving the Python syntaxes before I go with the practical part. Azure Synapse Analytics, and you are going to interact with the other all the storage services like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB. These are the Azure storage services where you are going to store the data. You are going to taking the input and output from this, and where you are going to store this the services, right? So all these things in brief, in depth, I'll be discussing, right? So even like it takes like 3 to 3.5 months the duration of this, right? So yes, even if anybody wants to go parallelly, like if you want to, you cannot spend that much of time, right? You can go parallelly, right? Whenever I start Azure Data Factory, and if any Databricks, you can join the Databricks parallelly, or PySpark or Azure Synapse, wherever I start, you can attend parallelly, right? You can understand those. And coming to this course content in brief, I will be discussing about this course content. Check with it. Azure Data Factory, See, first overview about this Azure services. Now coming to this Azure Data Factory, nearly like a 50 plus exercises pipelines will be creating in this. And even, and don't worry, someone was asking, clear notes will be provided. You can check with this. ADF notes batch wise, right? Yes. If you see, check this ADF notes. So clearly is by topic by clear notes will be provided for you from starting to the end. So daily you'll be getting the notes, right? Clearly. See all this, lot of discussions on this. Uh, Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory architecture, Data Factory portal UI, pipelines, activities, data sets, linked services, triggers, data flows, pipelines, how to create a new pipeline, organizing pipeline, debugging pipeline, publishing pipeline, parameters pipeline. Everything will be practical. Even you can do parallelly along with me, right? There's nothing theoretical. Parallelly, even you can perform that creations of this. You can execute parallelly along with me if you got speed. What is a linked service? Creating linked services for blob, for SQL database, for SQL server, for data lake, right? And data sets, what is data set? Creating data sets for different file formats, for Avro file, binary files, Excel files, CSV files, JSON files, ORC, Parquet, XML for Azure Data Lake, and tables in Azure SQL databases, parameterizations, activities, different types of activities. Copy data activity, copying files from one container to another container, copying data from blob to SQL database, Databricks notebook, Azure function, lookup, uh, many transformations, get the metadata activity, lookup activity, delete activity, execute pipeline, validations, filter activity, for each activity, if condition activity, switch activity, until activity, triggers for running this your pipelines, right? What is trigger, scheduled, tumbling window, and storage event, the differences, when to go for what. Integrations, three types, like nearly like for Azure auto integration runtime, managed virtual network, self-hosted, linked self-hosted, right? When to go for what. The source control and global parameters, credentials, monitoring ADF jobs, failure notifications, data flows, mapping data flows, data flow debug, transformations, validate schema drift, removing duplicate rows, different type of transformations. Like if you got in ETL, if you got informatica, like the same thing here, everything will be drag and drop. Depending upon what transformation you want, you will drag it. Filter transformation, aggregate transformation, join transformation, conditional split, derived column, exist transformation, union, lookup, sort, group by, pivot, unpivot, flatten, parse, stringify, filter, sort, alter row, all this. And apart from this, right, I said I'll be discussing 50 exercises, practical exercises in this area of all this, right? Creating copy activities, get metadata activity, copying data, right? Event-based trigger with activity until activity data flows, right? Nearly this 50. Coming to this data bricks. Before I go with data bricks, I'll be providing you the knowledge on this big data, knowledge on this Hadoop, with knowledge on this Spark. That is, before I go with Azure Databricks, knowledge on this big data, Hadoop, Spark, and Azure. And coming to this Databricks, creating Azure Databricks service, Databricks service using Azure CLI, adding users and groups to the workspace, creating cluster, how to start working with notebooks, and creating and configuring clusters, managing cluster, displaying cluster, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster logs, types of clusters, all-purpose job cluster, Databricks pools, with pools, without pools, cluster modes, and auto scaling features, multiple users, multi and the credentials, data utility, file system, library utility, notebook utility, widget utility, right? Limitations of utilities, Databricks integration with the Azure Data Lake, Azure SQL database, Synapse, Snowflake, Databricks handling multiple file formats like CSV, JSON, Parquet files, Excel files, XML files, ORC files, Avro files. Databricks batch processing, historical data load, incremental loading, data transformations, aggregations, windows functions, Databricks streaming API. Yes, processing of streaming using PySpark API, handling bad records, stream data into, load the data into tables, Databricks Lakehouse, Delta Lake. Differences between data lake and delta lake, introduction to delta lake, features of delta lake, how to create delta lake, how DML operations in delta lake, merging merge statements, how SCD type 1 and type 2, handling data deduplications, handling streaming data in delta lake, workflows in Databricks, introduction to workflows, creating runs, managing Databricks jobs, scheduling Databricks jobs, and coming to Azure Synapse, introduction overview of these pools, dedicated SQL pools, serverless pools, Apache Spark pools, Data Explorer pools, and Azure Storage account integration with Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse triggers, Azure SQL database integration with Azure Synapse, incremental load, logging and notifications, deep dive into copy activity, data flows introduction, right? And data flows using different transformations, filter, join, union, lookup, window, pivot, and pivot, SCD types, Spark pool introduction in this Azure Synapse, right? Yes, these things. So everything will be simple and easier to understand if you're regular to the sessions, if you're practicing those, right? All the sessions will be interactive sessions. You will be interacting with me during the sessions. Yes. So yes, Ravi, right? You require a Microsoft subscription for your as I hope you will be covered with adequate hands-on. Yes. So yes, Ravi. See, the subscription for this, right? Azure subscription. Azure is giving free subscription. Some services you can use lifetime free. Some services for 1 year they are free. Some services they are 1 month free. So in this way, at least it is giving some free subscription you can use, and also it is giving nearly 16,000 rupees credits will be added to your account whenever you create an account, Azure account, right? So you can use it within 1 month time. You can work on this. So I'll just demonstrate, right, how to work with the free subscription, right, and working with the hands-on within that, and how to work within the data lake, Azure SQL, Azure Cosmos, and this Azure Data Factory, Databricks, how to work within this. Everything, yes. If anything, if you get any errors, you can have the option of sharing the screen, right? And all the sessions will be interactive sessions, right? Yes. And okay, let me make it clear about the timings. See, first 3 to 4 days starts at 7 p.m. later. It starts at 6 p.m. I'm making it clear about the timings, right? So before you go with the payments things, right? And it starts at 6 p.m. in the evening, right? Fine. 3 to 4 days, right? So tomorrow also people can attend the session same time at 7 p.m. using the same link to see more discussion on this, right? Tomorrow will be, but after tomorrow the link will be changing, right? You're enrolled, right? Where we'll be starting with this, starting with ADF. I said the prerequisites, those who are asking for the prerequisites, right? So for this ADF, there is no prerequisites at all. You can go as the ADF developer, you can go as Databricks developer, you can go as PySpark developer, right? You can go as Azure data engineer, as if we got knowledge about all these things. So the calls are more for this, if you're got knowledge on all this. But initially, if you want to get into the company, you can go as ADF developer, Azure Databricks, or you can go as a data engineer. Calls are more if you've got all this knowledge, right? So it will be very simple, like you won't write like huge codings here. So you've got many inbuilt functionalities available, right? And working with the data frames API. Any queries from your side, anyone, right? So tomorrow also we'll see more discussion on this. It's continuation to today's demo. So as I said, right, Azure Data Engineer has got great demand today. See the salary packages for Azure Data Engineer, right? In the same way, they'll be expecting the technical skills from your side. Hmm.
I have some queries here, like AWS comparatively with AWS Azure. What are the differences? And if we learn this Azure, we can update easily with AWS.
So one thing, currently, like if you see in the market, Azure Data Engineer has got great demand as compared with that AWS. But especially for data engineering side, right? Azure Data Engineer has got great demand. And that too, like a data factory and Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Bricks. These are the major components, right? Databricks, previously, Databricks is not only for Azure, for all the other cloud, as you said, right? But as compared to that, Azure given by Microsoft, and also it is cheaper as compared with other cloud. And in the even if it's in the real usage, this Azure Databricks are mostly preferred. Here, the totally, even Azure Data Factory, you are not writing any code. You are just drag and drop you're performing and the transformations, but internally, don't forget they will be converted into Databricks jobs and executes. Internally, do you no need to write the code? They internally converts into Databricks jobs and executes. And internally, they're executed by this Spark. No need to write all those things, right? But as I said, these components has got as compared to that, as I said, AWS. To the industry taking, you can see you can Google and check, right, the jobs for this, especially in data engineer, in Azure data engineers, right, they has got a great demand today.
Okay, and PySpark is related to
And
Python.
and that too, that's why if you see mostly like the batches for this, as compared to that, there is no course like for AWS with data engineer, right? But no one, you cannot, you can won't see that. But Azure data engineer courses, you can see a lot of because of huge demand, right? Yes, yeah, some query was asked.
Yeah, and PySpark is relevant as a Python language only, or it is kind of like programming language, and also Azure SQL, so query language.
So
So
just
I
like
I missed it on the starting of the session. Can you please tell the prerequisites?
prerequisites, right, for these things. For this ADF, there is no prerequisites at all. For this Azure Databricks, PySpark, for these things, right? Just a basic Python knowledge is required. Basic Python and basic SQL. That's it.
Okay, so this is kind of a tool in which we will work, or we will write some program or something.
So here, in the case of Azure Databricks, right, you are going to implement some small codings you'll be writing within these notebooks.
Okay, okay.
And that too, don't worry, people may get right in PySpark, right? PySpark is giving lot of data frame functionalities. You'll be using that inbuilt functions, right, for performing the tasks. But you need to know which function to be used for what. Lot of things will be discussing in that PySpark data frame functionalities, right? And that too, even PySpark, you can check PySpark, just to type PySpark and check. It has got a great boom in this. And even if you discuss with other training sites of this and compare to this, a lot of the other they won't cover this PySpark. They say Azure Data Factory, Databricks, and Azure Synapse in this thing, right? PySpark is the main thing there, where total execution happens in that Spark, right? So everything I'll be briefing you, right? Yes.
Okay, and Hadoop, you earlier you said like Hadoop, big data, those are also included.
So before I go with this, right, I'll go in that knowledge, whatever up to what knowledge required, I'll be providing those on that.
Okay, and the 7 p.m. will be flexible if it is a 6:45 or 6:30. 7 p.m. 6 p.m. is not flexible. I might take in another batch, or else if possible 7 p.m.
For that, I need to discuss and I'll let you know by tomorrow.
Okay, okay, fine, sir. Thank you.
But
Yeah.
7 p.m. Yes, about the timings, I don't know like how many of you.
No, sorry to interrupt, Vijay
Yeah,
sir.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
is better
7
always.
p.m. is also like fine because 6 o'clock is uh, like sometimes
Okay, that's fine. Not a problem, right? Okay, I'll just talk with this Durga people, right? And I'll say, let you know. I'll confirm it at 7 p.m. only. If you're everyone, if you want 7 p.m. if it's not a, right? Go with 7 p.m.
yes, 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 yeah. Thank you so much.
So I'll make it like 7. If everyone like, okay, it's 7 p.m. It's not a,
Hello, uh,
yes. Yeah, go
Ram
ahead.
this side.
Yes,
Actually,
yes.
I'm working and I won't be able to make it at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. both of them as I have meetings in the evening. So, is there any other slots available?
As of now, it is 7 p.m. Morning already, like some batches are running in the morning sessions, but as of now, we will be only having in the evening. So
Okay.
people,
So,
okay, if you want, if people who have got urgency in this updating, right, and people who are already working, they'll be updating, right? So in that, you can attend this, but if there is any morning batch, you can shift to that. Means if I start any of my morning batch.
yeah, I would prefer that because I'm working and I'm looking for upgrade only.
Now, as of now,
I'm
right,
already
in the
there.
previously also, people they'll be attending in this meanwhile, but whenever the morning batch starts, they'll be shifting instead of okay, if you've got some time bound, you need to get updated within so and so time. Otherwise, you need to wait up until that morning batch starts. It will be in December. There
So,
won't be
may
any
I know
morning.
like, so-
In I don't think in the December, in January, like first week, it might be there. Okay, fine. Any other queries, right? Yes. So the timing will be okay if it is 7 p.m. only. So the duration will be all the sessions will be interactive sessions, as I said. Whatever I said will be discussed. Everything I'll be showing you the practical parts by typing, not like anything like already pre-written codes bringing and just executing those kind of things won't be there. I'll be just step by step. I'll be showing you all those things. Yes. I also take Python sessions. People, if you want to go with Python, also if it doesn't have knowledge, you can just means by the time first I'll be starting with Azure Data Factory. It takes nearly 30-40 days, right, to complete this Azure Data Factory. So by the time people, if you want, you have got, we can update with Python also. Otherwise, I'll say before I start with Databricks, for 2-3 days, I'll just discuss about this Python syntaxes. The two basic Python is required, right? Yes. Fine. So tomorrow also you can attend the session. More discussion on this, right? Yes. Yes, Jovan, right? Joban and right? The for all these things, for all this package, right? It's 12,000. It is 12,000, but even separately, the package. See, there'll be course batches will be there in Azure Data Factory. Azure Databricks course will be announced. Azure Data Factory separately, the courses also will be announced. Each one will be of 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. All this four. But if you're taking everything as a package, it's 12,000, right? For everything, this will be for 12,000. The course fee is for 12,000 if you're taking as a package.
So is it a 1 hour class, 7 to 8?
Yeah, 7 to 8, it's a 1 hour course. Sometimes whenever I'm free, I'll pre-intimate, right? If I want to take some extra sessions.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So if I'm done with your queries, see, you can see in the chart, right? A big message is given by this DURGASOFT online team. So there is a separate team working for the videos. They'll be updating the videos on a daily basis. You can see as a data engineering course content they have forwarded you. A big message there, contact details they are provided, and the payment details, everything they have provided, right? Yes. Okay, fine. So if I'm done with the queries, if there are no other queries, I'll sign off for this. We'll meet you tomorrow, same time at 7 o'clock using the same link, right? Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, Vijay
Thank
sir, one
Yes.
query. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, will you cover any integration from like ADF to the ADB?
Yes.
Okay. And that will be a part of ADF only, or it will be covered under the ADB.
ADB.
Okay.
Because in the ADB, in the cluster, in the notebooks, right, will be just how we can share it. In the ADB, I'll be covering it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Vijay sir. Yeah.
So for all this, once again, right, someone was asking, right, fees, it's for all this, it's 12,000. For only if you are only for Azure Data Factory, it is 6,000. And for this Azure Databricks, if you want only Azure Databricks, 6,000. And this PySpark means I'll be taking separate sessions on this PySpark, separate sessions on Databricks available, weekend batches, those things are also available. And but if you're taking as a package, it's only 12. We'll cover all this, right? Fine. Yes. So I'm signing off for now. If I'm done with the queries, any other queries from anyone? Right?
No, sir.
A typical 3+4+ years of experience person, how much knowledge is going to gain, that much of knowledge you'll be getting it. Right? So we'll be working with many working examples. Right? I already showed you nearly 50 examples, exercises I'll be discussing in ADF especially. Okay.
Yeah. One last query. So Vijay sir, once this timing is finalized, so it won't be changed, right? Like.
It will be 7 p.m. I'm saying, right? So that's why I want to say it before you go with the payments. So as most of you comfortable with 7, right? Then I'll go with 7 only then.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So it's I'm making it clear about the timings, right? It will be 7. Okay. So I'm signing off for now. Thank you all for your time. So good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.